Good. So we're continuing with what we began in the previous days. It's a speech by the Lubavitcher Rebbe that he gave in 1992, and it's talking about the building of the temple. Building of the temple. The temple. This was the first stage, or the first temple that was built. It was portable in the desert, and when they came to Israel, also it was set in a couple of different places, 4 different places, for the course of 440 years until King Solomon built the first temple. But the ingredients in the tabernacle show us on how to serve God all the time, even now. And one of the main things, and the Rebbe points out, that when God requested that everyone, all the Jewish people, bring the materials to build the temple, so the first thing he demanded was gold. And the Rebbe asked the question, why? And also, how can it be that everybody brought, not just special people? So the answer was that after God gave the Torah to the Jewish people, that all the Jewish people became gold. Every Jew became gold. Every Jew became precious to God. And the word gold, the 3 letters are Zeh Hanoten Bari, giving charity, giving of yourself, contributing to the world in a healthy way. That's what every Jew is. And every Jew can make a holy temple. Man, women, children, everyone. That's the purpose of the Jewish people, to make a holy temple and to make eventually the whole world holy. According to this, Al Pizeh Tuvan, we can also understand another thing. We can also understand the connection between the month of Adar. That in the beginning of the month of Adar, we'll read this parsha of Truma. Right, this Friday is going to be the first day of Adar. It's really the last day of this month, Shvat. And Shabbos is going to be the actual first day of Adar. Read Truma. What's the connection between Adar and all this idea that all the Jews are holy and all the Jews are gold? And that Adar, according to what it says in the Gemara, that in the month of Adar, it says it's a healthy month of the Jews. We asked the question, the rabbis say, there is no mazel to Israel. It says that the Jewish people, the month of Adar, it says Bori Mazli. I guess the best translation for the word of mazel is luck. It's a good luck month. But the rabbis say there is no mazel for the Jewish people. The Jewish people don't go according to luck. Now, another meaning of the word mazal is that is a mazalot. That's the zodiac. That's the configuration of the stars in the heavens, the mazal, and especially what is it called, the signs of the zodiac. Every month has its own, right? What is it? The Leo and Gemini and Pisces and Libra and etc. All these have Scorpio. Every month has its mazel, its spiritual mazel. Now the fact is that this is used especially in astrology, and there is validity to astrology. There is validity to astrology. There's validity to sorcery, to validity to magic. You're not supposed to use it to predict the future. These things, sorcery, you're not supposed to use at all. Astrology, you could use maybe to understand something about the nature of a person, but there is validity to it. Says the Rebbe, the month of Adar, the month of Adar is a month that's lucky. The mazel, the spiritual configurations are good for the Jewish people in the month of Adar. Usually the month of Adar is symbolized by Pisces, by 2 fish, right? Fish, dagim. Pisces is fish, right? Yeah, I think so. Okay. So it says, but the rabbis say there is no mazel. The Jewish people aren't affected by what happens in the spiritual worlds. How can it possibly be that what it said? It says there is no mazel. So he says there is no. How can it? Maybe so he says maybe we can say like this. That Rashi explains this obvious, glaring contradiction. It says that Adar is a lucky month for the Jews, right? Astrologically, it's a lucky month for the Jews. And on the other hand, it says clearly the Jews they're not under the stars, they're not under the powers of astrology. So Rashi says like this, Rashi gives an explanation. Ein Mazel Yisrael, what does it mean that there is no mazel. The Jews are not affected by the luck, by the upper worlds, by the stars. The aliyah de tefillah, by means of prayer. This is what Rashi says: by means of prayer and by means of good deeds, zchut, merit, that we can change the course of our fortune. We can change our fortune. I know we can change the future. Namely, that the Jewish people, they do have a mazel. They are under the stars and under this, but by means, we have a power that's even stronger than this power. We have prayer and we have merits, as we can change our lot for good. That's what Rashi says. Says the Rebbe, I mean, I'm not going to contradict Rashi, but Ein ze bir maspik. I don't think this answer is sufficient regarding the month of Adar, because it says that the month of Adar is bari mazli, that the month is a healthy month. What does it mean? It seems that not by means of something else, by means of our prayers or our merits, it seems that the month itself is good. The mazel of the month itself, that is what's healthy, not because of what we do or what we are, or because of our merits. Or so we can say, maybe we can say that it means like this. Just one second. I just want to turn off the air conditioner. Too much good. It's very cold, in Israel. Yesh Lomo, we can say the explanation is this. But Etzem, really, the source of the Jewish people are not under any of the influences of the stars or the zodiac or astrology or anything. God forbid. Like it says, Al derech hagoyim al talamadu u'ba'otot hashamayim al tachtu ki yachtu hagoyim mehema. It says, like it says in the, where is it, 66 here? In Jeremiah. It says in Jeremiah, don't go according to the stars, don't go according, because in the end, it'll just make mistakes. I don't know if everybody knows this. I also don't know if it's true, but I read it a lot of times, that Hitler was very, very much into astrology. And the Germans in general, there are these mystics in Germans. I read some of the books of them before I became religious. And they were very, very super into astrology and the upper worlds and the configurations and this. And he was very into this. And he had a whole staff of astrologers. And the astrologers told him what to do. And they were miraculously right in the beginning. I mean, he won these amazing victories, that against all of his generals and everything like that. But eventually, it was wrong. I think that was with Dunkirk or something like that. The astrologers told him one thing, another thing, whatever it was. It didn't work. It didn't work in there. We saw it, but thank God it didn't work. He says, they're saying the Jewish people, don't go to soothsayers, don't go to astrologers, don't go to this. It could be that they're right 90% of the time, 99% of the time, but they're not 100% right. Therefore, do not rely on them. Do not rely on them. So if so, it means what? That the Jewish people really, they're not supposed to be affected by the stars or whatever. Don't pay any attention to those things. The novelty of a Jew is even more than this. Even as a Jew is in the physical, not in the source of the Jewish people, the soul, the source of the Jewish people is above time, it's above nature. We see the Jewish people have had enemies that it would decimate any other nation or religion or wherever, and it has done that to all the other religions and nations that is in. And amazingly, the Jewish people are few and whatever, but they still exist. It says that's from the essence of the soul, but that's not the novelty. That's not the novelty. We're a stronger people. We're a higher people. So everybody has their good thing, and that's our thing of a Jew. It says no. The novelty of a Jew is even more. That even how a Jews are in this physical world, a soul in a body, in a natural world, the gufo nidma, and his body seems in its physicality to be exactly the same as a body of a non-Jew. Shemuna gimal mazalot, namely that they're under the forces of the stars or whatever, of luck. Gam Khan also here is, even when they're in the physical world, there's no mazel to the Jewish people. The Jewish people are above. Not just their souls are above, but the physical body of a Jew is not under, even though we look the same as everybody else, everything works the same. You can make a heart transplant for a non-Jew to a Jew or a Jew to a non-Jew, etc. The bodies are the same, seemingly, But the fact of the matter is even that's totally different. Even the Jews in the world are not confined to any of the laws of nature, even spiritual nature. Look, and therefore, therefore there is in the power of a Jew by means of prayer and merit to change for good. But all this is only koach elyon. This is only because of an upper power. Lo mazel mitzaratzmo, not the mazel on its own. And the novelty of the month of Adar is even more than this. So we're saying the novelty of a Jew is not that our souls are different, that we're different in this world and we can change our mazel in this world by prayer and doing good deeds. That's what Rashi said. But that what it says by Adar, it says that the mazel is good. That's even better. That's even a different thing. That even as a Yehudi is alone, kan lamata, here below, connected to mazel in the physical world, and v'nimsa ba'olam, and is found in a world that has dina b'hanei nachri, and it could be in a law where a non-Jew wants to go to trial with the Jew, right? There's reasons that the non-Jew is making troubles for the Jew. Until the month of Av, it says, don't go to court with him. You're going to lose in the month of Av. It says your luck is not good in the month of Av, when the temple was destroyed. But in the month of Adar, it says Bari Mazli. It says in the month of Adar, miyad, immediately, as soon as the month comes in, even without any work from your side, it's healthy. Until even a Yehudi, even a non-Jew, can see and can feel this. Yesh lo osif, in other words, even a non-Jew can see that in the month of Adar, is that the luck of a Jew is not according to the stars. The conduct of a Jew, the success of a Jew, is not according to even any spiritual principles. It's something totally out of the world. That's the idea of Adar. Do we take advantage of it? I hope so. Now that's what the Rebbe is saying. Let's see. That what it says, Ein Mazel Yisrael, that what it says that there is no influence of the stars to the Jewish people. The Mazel Yisrael means that the Mazel of the Jewish people is Ein. There is not. Ayin means bittul, surrender to the Creator. Ayin, the world is created something from nothing. From nothing. In this case, when we say that the world is created something from nothing, in this case, we're referring to the nothing is God. What God is nothing? Says, yeah, God is not a thing. God is not a thing. Ayin doesn't mean a big vacuum. Ayin means true existence, unlimited existence. There's no limit in size and time and quality, in depth, in spirituality. It's not limited in any way. That's called ayin. This ayin sof, that's the mazel of the Jewish people. The mazel of the Jewish people, the force of, what do you call it, luck of the Jewish people, comes from ayin. It comes from total surrender to the oneness of God. The chiddush b'davar, and the novelty is shekachu lo rak l'mayla, not only in our source, up above, elo hamazel is who nozel, it drips down. The word mazel means to drip down. It comes down into this physical world. Shagam kafisha Yehudi, like just like as a Jew is found in this world where the stars and etc. they indicate that the world is under the rulership of spiritual powers, and to the degree that even it could be we have a court case with a non-Jew, Hari Mazlo, but the Mazel is nevertheless an ayin. Like we said before, Sheratzono Panini, the inner desire of every Jew is l'kayim, to do what God wants. Until Shabari Mazli, that the inner essence of what a Jew wants only what God wants. Mazlahu bari v'chazak, even in the eyes of the non-Jews, that everyone can see. Maybe we can say an example of this is the 6-Day War. I don't think the 6 Day War happened in Adar. Did it happen in Adar? In any case, that's a real example even in our times. As soon as the Jews they fought, first of all, they were strong. That's a big enough. That's an amazing novelty in itself that the Jews were strong. They stood themselves. But nevertheless, they won this amazing victory in 6 days, and it was in the physical world. And I think I talked about this before. I knew people that they learned in like West Point and these things, and they said that you can't learn anything from the 6 Day War because everything was just not normal. Everything was not normal. But we defeated 6 huge nations, 6, 5, whatever, it's huge nations that surrounded us and nobody helped us, right? No one helped. America, maybe they would have helped. They didn't have time to help us. And it was 6 days. The whole thing was just finished like that. Everyone saw in the world that the Jews are not under any laws of nature. And that is expressed, okay, then it was expressed one time, but now the Rebbe says that the month of Adar is expressing this all the time. Do we take advantage of it? Do we use it? So now we can understand the connection between the month of Adar, when we said that's God's month, so to speak, above the stars, above the creation. It's the Creator's month. What's the connection to Truma, this week's Torah portion, which talks about the building of the tabernacle? Benidvos v'asiyos a Mishkan, when the Jewish people made the Mishkan, the tabernacle, Bolia de Bito, it became revealed in the world in a revealed way, the power which was received from Mount Sinai, that a Jew, as he is in his essence, in his source, and similarly how a Jew, how he's found in this physical world, that the existence of a Jew, even in the physical world, even that he has properties, and he has a house and he's got a bank account, nevertheless, a Jew is gold. Ze anotein bari, namely giving of yourself in a healthy way. Ze noten et koach, this gives the power from giving of the Torah. When God gave the Torah, and especially by building the Mishkan, then it became revealed in the world in a permanent way that the Jews in this physical world are totally from a different world. Want to call it a different planet? No, they're from the Creator. This is the power of the month of Adar. Mishkan, and this, the month it was completed, the building of the Mishkan. The Mishkan in the desert, it opened up. It was open for business on the first day of Nisan. Nisan is the month immediately after Adar. So they finished they finished all the ingredients. They finished, everything was ready in the month of Adar, and after everything was all gathered together in the month of Adar, then Hakamat the Mishkan, then the Mishkan was actually erected on the 7 days of the inauguration, which completed in the end of the month of Adar, Kaf Gimel Adar until Rosh Chodesh Nisan, and then Rosh Chodesh Nisan was the day that the first day that it was open for business. That's the day the Nadav and Avihu rushed in and all that, etc. Therefore, the month of Adar was the month when they completed gathering up all of the materials and also making all the materials, the walls and etc., for the tabernacle. And then they put it together, assembled it. That was immediately when the month of Adar was finished. If so, the tabernacle was made in the month of Adar. The ingredients were gathered in the month of Adar. So that shows that the Jewish people in this physical world had a physical house, that physical house, a physical place where the Creator was revealed. You went there, you felt you're being created. Not only you felt you're being created all the time, because that's the fact, we're being created all the time, not just, and eventually the whole world is being created. There's only one God, He creates everybody. And He creates everybody constantly, but we don't feel it. The holy temple, the tabernacle, made it evident to everyone that we're being created. And not only we're being created, but the fact that there was the tablets there shows that we're being created for a purpose, that we have responsibility. And that's what the whole idea of the temple was, the tabernacle, that this world, the whole entire world is really above the world. It's above the stars. The stars and the zodiac, that's part of the world. But that's begun, it begins with the Jews receiving the Torah and building the tabernacle. Shagam kafishu kosher ladargas mazel, that a Jew, even when he's under the influences of the stars, namely he's in this world, who nimsa is in a way that he's healthy. Zen noten bari, he's above the stars. Unchangeable. The Lomar, we can say that this is also the connection to the fact that when Adar comes in, we should be happy. Why should we be happy? Shabbat Gemara, and the Gemara comes after it says, after it says that the month of Adar, it says, is a healthy, lucky month. And after that, it says that's a healthy and a lucky month. The mazal is healthy, namely that even the Jews, when they're in this physical world, their mazel is above mazel. It's only for God. Then it says, therefore, when the Adar comes in, you have to increase happiness. A simcha, the greatest happiness there can be. Eitzel Yehudi by a Jew is kasher yodea, when he knows, she knows, but kol matzav, that no matter what situation they're in, who afilu lamata mata, even the lowest of the lows, ba'olam shebechitzonius, in this physical world, that it seems that there's concealment and hiding over God. Nevertheless, a Jew is kashur l'kodesh baruch hu, he's attached to God. I want to repeat what I've said many times, but I've heard it other places. Like I told you, I'm a big fan of Professor Viktor Frankl. I've read what I think is all the books that he wrote in English. I read them all several times. And he was in the Holocaust. He developed a whole different view of what psychology or psychiatry is supposed to be, what a human being is, and etc. But maybe go into that another time. But he said he was in the Holocaust. He was in Auschwitz and where was it? I think Dachau. He was in 4 different camps. And he said that if you ask him, that more people became religious in the camps than left their religion. More people became religious. Why? Because they realized that the world cannot give us meaning. The world cannot determine who we are. We're here in this world in order to put meaning into the world, to take situations in the world and use them in a meaningful way. Sometimes the only meaningful way is, let's say, for instance, a person is about to die. He's terminally ill. And that could be, according to what he says, that could be the most meaningful moment of his life, because he takes an attitude that he's not going to be depressed and he's not going to be sad, and he's going to accept everything and know that it's all the way it's supposed to be. Or if you're religious, what God, this is the will of God. Nevertheless, that's the essence of what a Jew is. That even when he was in the lowest situations, even when he's in Auschwitz or Dachau or whatever, and he's there because he's a Jew, nevertheless, he comes to really value Judaism. The reason that the Nazis in the world hates Judaism so much is because it's true. It's objectively, eternally, absolutely true in all situations. And the world can't accept that. The world doesn't like that. Everybody wants to think that they're God. I'm calling the shots. Don't tell me what to do. And the Jews are saying, what can we do? I mean, we would like to get along with you. The Zionism tried to be like everybody else. But the fact is it's not a fact. We aren't like everybody else. And everybody else is mistaken. Everybody in the world is mistaken. Everyone. They're all mistaken. Everyone thinks that they're God. Everyone thinks that there are certain examples of people that are humble, genuinely humble, and that they genuinely give themselves over to the creator of the universe. But that's the job of the Jewish people, is to bring to the world that the world is being conducted above the world. And no one essentially is under the rulership of the stars and the Shekena Filu. That's the Jewish people. We're the example. And the Holy Temple is an example of how the whole world should be, the physical world. Shekena Filu, even a Jew is found in this physical world, a soul in the body. Nevertheless, every Jew is the only son, Ben Yechid, of the King of Kings God. When Moses went into Paro, God said, go the first time. God said, go into Paro and tell him, let the Jewish people go. My son, my chosen ones, B'ni B'chori, my son. He said singular. You can say one way that all the Jews are called the singular son of God, and also every individual Jew is called the individual son of God. Every Jew. But what does that mean? It means that we're connected to the king, to the boss. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, God said, Sherishon Nechasim, and God said that the first possessions of a Jew is gold. Namely, that even when a Jew is in this physical world, that people have possessions, and possessions have a tremendous effect on a person, right? If a person sees another zero in his bank account, instead of $10,000, he gets $100,000, he's very happy. If he looks and sees there's one less zero, instead of a $10,000, it says $1,000, he's very sad. This world has a tremendous effect on our whole attitude and our soul. But nevertheless, every single Jew is rich. We're rich spiritually, and we're rich even physically. You have Torah, you have commandments that you're rich. The kasher, when a Jew thinks about this, so it brings him to a tremendous joy. I'm the son of God. That's incredible. The simcha kazu, this type of Jew, it changes his physical life. That he's living in this physical world in a way, the nature, that he's living in the physical world, and he's under the laws of the world. You have to put on pants, you have to go get a job. But techuna is a simcha, but joy is that it brings and permeates everything that's in a person. When a person is happy, so he lives a happy life. And not only that, it influences others also to be happy to him. Simcha shepoelas by means of his deeds, and the thing that brings him ito l'mega, everything he comes in contact with. He's happy and positive, and he makes other people happy as well. Why do I have to be happy about? Because everything I have is a gift. I have eyes. You know what eyes are? I have a nose. What if you can imagine if you woke up in the morning, you didn't have a nose, you just had a hole there? You'd be embarrassed to go outside. But it was, what happened to your nose, man? What's what? Right? And I have a nose. Look at this. Right? And I have a big nose. Whoa, this is amazing. Right? And I have ears and I have feet. It's incredible. Right? And people say, what are you happy about? I have feet. So, well, I also have feet. I'm not happy. Well, that's your problem. You should be happy. Simcha zu, this happiness, but the biggest happiness we have is that God is creating us and He wants us to be His partners. We're worthy to be partners with God. This joy brings more success in everything that you do in your life. Like we can see clearly, right? A businessman that goes to a house and he knocks on the door and says, you're probably not going to want to buy this. I mean, the next door neighbor didn't want to buy it. Nobody wanted to buy it. It just slams the door. See, I was right. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you go, hello, I've got something really good. Maybe you'd be interested in what I have. It's a really good. What do you got? What are you smiling about? Because the other people that bought this, they're really happy. And I think you'll be happy too. If you want, give me 3 minutes. I'll show you what a person, if you're genuine and you're happy about what you've got, that you are, and you have a genuine reason to be happy. And we do. God is creating us. And God is giving us responsibility. Kalomer, in addition to this, by means that happiness, it says that you become ben olam haba. Like it says, there's a story in the Talmud that who was it, Rebbe Yeshua ben Levi, that he says, which Gemara is it? In Tainus, is it 71? Tainit, right? In the Gemara in Tainit. So it says Rebbe Yeshua ben Levi that he wanted to know. He asked Elijah the prophet used to come to him, and they used to go around regularly. So he said, I want to know who in the marketplace is going to go to heaven, going to go to Olam Haba. So he said, I'll show you. And there's two people walking, and they were joking around with everybody, making everybody laugh, saying all sorts of jokes, maybe stupid jokes, maybe nice jokes, and they made everybody laugh, everybody happy. He said, they're going to go to heaven. He figured, the rabbis, they're going seriously, they're thinking about God all the time. They're in the upper worlds. This is a big guy, as radiates holiness. He's going to go to heaven. He says, yeah, it could be. But one person for sure I know is these two happy people that make other people happy. Hanach badchi, that they're happy, and make other people happy. These people for sure are going to go to heaven. Therefore, we've got tremendous what to be happy about. The month of Adar. We have to be happy because it's a month that shows that the mazel of the Jewish people in this physical world and that the forces that we're under are not the stars, but God Himself. That His life in this physical world is true, and it's happy, and it's successful. As we're going to talk about more, God willing, tomorrow. And now let's do the Yom Yom for today.